along with the harmonic progressions of different songs that my young ear listened to and picked out. There were also what we call vocal arrangements, and this did not just only include groups like the Beach Boys or the Beatles or whatever, but it also had to do with like orchestral voices behind singers, such as Bobby Vee in the early 60s. He had the Johnny Mann Singers, a group of, I don't know, at least 12 people, and most of the vocal arranging was done by Ernie Freeman. But as far as the task mastering, Johnny was like the choir master, and he would like interpret whatever the arrangement was. He would get the right balance and put so many people on one note and so many on the other and rehearse them and all that jazz. But getting back to the group vocal harmony, of course, I just mentioned two great groups, and I think one of the big harmony groups was the Beach Boys. Going back to 64 seemed to be a seminal year for me, not only because I was turning 14, but also because music had exploded. It had switched to the British invasion in 1964, and as well as other groups that were happening before that. Well, they had to step it up, including the Beach Boys. So in the summer of 1964, the Beach Boys came out with a song called I Get Around, which I feel is their best record. It's their best record because it has the best sound. It just has a punch, and it also has some great vocal harmonies. But as a production, as a record, it is really wonderful. And it was a double-sided hit with Don't Worry Baby on the other side, which is also a great recording. But getting back to I Get Around, my ear heard these harmonies moving around. Mike would start out, this is in the key of G. Round, round, get around, and then the other harmonies came in. Now it sounded to me, and I don't know whether it is, because there's a little bit of kind of a contention as to whether there's a suspension there or not, but I kind of feel like there is. Round, round, get around. Now see, the seventh, that would be not in the Beach Boys, but probably somebody like Burt Bacharach. So, round, round, get around. That really knocked me out when I heard that. I thought that was totally great. And of course the record had a groove to it, you know, like a shuffle. And then over the track, you know, they were singing these harmonies. But they would always come back to this a cappella thing, you know. Let's see. Then again. Very cool, very cool. So I would listen for vocal harmonies. If I Fell, another group, the Beatles, had a great song, great harmony, in two-part harmony. And I think, as I recall, there were a few times when it might have gone into three-part harmony, but mostly two-part harmony. And then there's this oddball sequence in the beginning where John is doing the intro, and he's playing these chords that are somehow a half tone higher or something like that, and then it somehow it either steps up or down. I can't quite remember, it's been such a long time. Let me see if I can recall it. So we're in the key of D flat, as D as in David. The 2 chord. Very rich change there. I love that, you know. So he is just now, he's pivoting to do the 2 chord of the new key, which is D, not D flat, but D. And just holding hands. And then, of course, we go into the D. Let's see. Love that, love that. That's totally great. 6. Then they throw in a 3rd. Here's an empty 5th. That really comes out great on the track because the track is like an E minor chord, and then we have these 2 harmonies that are laid over it. And then a solo by Mann. Just totally great. And so, I mean, when you hear stuff like that, it's so unique. Just knocks you out. So the summer of '64 really had a lot of great tunes. I think the Beatles song "If I Fell" came out around then. It might have been just a little bit before. Those of you who are really into it can tell me exactly when it came out, but I do know it was around that time. And then another song by the Beach Boys, which is also wonderfully harmonically as well as the vocal harmony, "Warmth of the Sun." And this has been talked about before by some pop historian, I can't remember his name, but he talks about how Brian would do 2 chords and then go up and do the same 2 chords, almost like splitting it. Let's see, what is the song? Goes up a minor 3rd. So we have and then back to the original key, a 2 chord. 5, 7, then augmented. Now, this is sophisticated because the melody is like a minor ninth, a flatted ninth rather, flatted ninth on the E7th chord. See, the plain E chord doesn't really work, so it's got to be, there's got to be a 7th in there. See, my ear hears this stuff. Major 7th. Then we have these 2 low voices, Mike, you know. Great stuff, really great stuff. So this is part of my harmonic upbringing. I just love it. Now we're going to go to part 3 of YouTube.